Okay, so I have worked 30 rows of the picot every stitch, picot every row. Now the instructions say to work to the halfway point, which should be 27 inches, which has me convinced we are meant to measure from the cuff, the very first row down here. I don't, and then it says to work basically count the stitches where you have your stitch marker, where your first row of every stitch is a picot on up, and then match it. That's going to be way too long for me. So I stopped at this point to begin working down the sleeve. I tried this on. I have stitch markers all along where it says to sew, and it fits perfect. So at this point, I am just a couple of inches down the shoulder, maybe not even a whole 2 inches down the shoulder, and I'm ready to start the sleeve. So now we switch from 4.5 millimeter to 4 millimeter. We're going to work our needle hook. We're going to work our hook sizes back down. We're going to work everything that we did here, just in the opposite direction. So now we're going to repeat the section where we worked 13 rows, alternating every other stitch is a picot and every other row is a picot row. So let's start with that. So we are still chaining 7 because those rows were a chain 7. Eventually we'll get back down to just chaining 5 again. 4, 5, 6, 7. So every other stitch will be a picot. So I'll work a picot here and then none, then a picot here and none. So I will start it with a picot. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then no picot. I'll just work around the chain on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this stitch I'll work picot. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just the regular single crochet into the next. So we will work like this every other row for 13 rows. So the next row is going to be just plain chains. Next row after that will be every other row picots. So I'm going to go ahead and count this as row 1 of 13. So I will be right back. Now switching to the 3.5 millimeter hook, we're going to work row 13. Now that we're done with the 13 rows where we did every other row, every other stitch, a picot. Now for row 13, and that was a chain 7. Work a single crochet into the first loop, then chain 5, work a picot into the next stitch, to the next loop over, chain 5, and work a single crochet into the next 3 loops separated by a chain 5. So that was 1, 2, and 3, then chain 5 again and work another picot into the next loop. You might be wondering why I am doing my picots with a slip stitch. I didn't mean to. It didn't dawn on me. I was all the way into like the 3rd row of the every other row of picots, and it dawned on me I had been doing them with the slip stitches that whole time when I was off camera, so I just decided to stick with it. So that's why I'm doing slip stitches on the picots instead of a single crochet, chain 3 single crochet. No big deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to work the chain 5 and a single crochet 3 times again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3, then chain 5 one more time, and work a picot. 1, 2, 3, and then repeat all the way to the end. So I will be back whenever we get down to the other end, and I'm going to have a little bit of homework for you. Okay, so I was able to end with my last 3 chain loops and a single crochet. Now the homework is for the next 3 rows, we're just going to work chain loops and single crochets. So we're still going to start with a chain of 7 and a single crochet and a chain 5 and then a single crochet into the next loop over. So this will be the repeat for the next 3 rows. So we're basically working everything in reverse from how we started the last sleeve. Okay, so I will be back whenever I have finished my 3 rows of just the plain chains and single crochets. I almost got confused there, tongue-tied for a moment. I'll be right back. Okay, now that we have worked our 3 plain rows, we're going to repeat row 13 one more time. So that's going to start with a chain of 7 and 1 single crochet into the first chain, chain 5, a picot into the next, followed by our 3 chain 5s. So 1, 2, 3, then chain 5 one more time and work a picot in the 4th. Okay, just like we did right here. Well, where is it? Right, right here. These rows are so thin, just like we did right here. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have finished the repeat of the 13th row, the instructions want us to repeat the last 4 rows once more. So now we're going to work 3 plain rows with just chains and single crochet. 7, and there we go. So work your plain 3 rows again, and then work this same picot row we just worked with the picots and then the 3 chains and then 1 more chain into the picot. So that is going to be our homework for now, and it has to be for me until my yarn comes in because this is the last of my last ball. So I do have some more coming in. So I will work as much as I can with what I have left and then jump back on here whenever we are ready to work the next row. Okay, I got my 2 hanks of yarn in. I'm caked up and ready to, I guess, cook. I'm ready to go. Okay, so that repeat of row 13 is now done. So now we have a bit of really easy homework. Now it wants us to just repeat row 5 8 times. So that's just going to be 8 plain rows with a chain 7 at the beginning of each row. Very easy homework this time. And after these 8 rows, we're going to switch back down to the 3mm hook. And you may do that if your yarn isn't hyper splitty like mine. Mine is very splitty, so I'm only going to go down to the 3.25mm, which I find doesn't make that big of a difference in size, but it definitely keeps my yarn from splitting every stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can see this is a very split prone material, but it is soft, it's silky, it's beautiful. Oh, I cannot wait to wear this. I'm telling you, I can't. So let me get a stitch marker or row counter. So this will be row 1 of 8 plain rows, 4 and 5. Very simple. 2, 3, 4, 5. No picots. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Behave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jump over the picot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I will be back whenever I have completed these 8 plain rows. All right, 8 rows are done. We're going to switch to the smallest hook. Again, I remind you that's the pattern calls for a 3 millimeter. I'm using a 3.25. Now this time we're going to chain 5 instead of 7 so that we can narrow things down a bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and it wants us to work 1 single crochet back into the top of this same single crochet here. Chain 3, yarn over, and we're going to work a double crochet over the top of the next single crochet. Chain 3, and we're going to repeat. So we're going to work a single over the single, chain 3, and then yarn over and work a double over the next single, chain 3, single, chain 3, yarn over, double, so that's what we are looking at now. We have a single, double, single, double. You see the pattern here. So keep working that to the end of the row and then come on back and we'll work the next row together. Okay, next row. There we go. I ended by counting 3 chains up and working a single crochet into the last chain of that chain 7, or into the top of the 3rd chain. Forgive me, I don't know why I said last chain. Anyways, we're going to turn and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Work a single crochet into the top of the double. Then chain 5 again, and this is going to be the repeat. Single crochet into the top of the single. Chain 5. Single into the top of the double. Okay, then repeat that all the way to the end. So I will be right back. Okay, now for the next row. Oh, and I ended this by counting 3 chains up and working a single crochet because the instructions say to basically work in the 5th chain, work your last single crochet. Well, that's going to be 3 chains up as well. So let's turn, and now we're really going to bring things in. Chain 5 into the first double crochet, work a single. Now here's the repeat. Chain 5, skip over the single and into the next double crochet, work a single, and that's your repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip this and into the double. So basically into every double, work a single separated by a chain 5, and you can see that's really going to bring things in. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip. There's the double. Work a single. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip and into the double. Let's look at that. We're really closing things in here to get ready for the cuff piece, the second cuff piece we're going to work. So let's work this all the way to the other end, and I will be back to work the next row with you. Okay, it wants us to do the last chain 5 and single crochet over the last single crochet, and then that's where we leave it. So this will be our edge stitch here, this little chain. Okay. Now we're going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and it wants us to work a single crochet into the chain space, chain 2, work a single crochet into the next chain space. It's the repeat, so we're really going to bring it in. Chain 2, next chain space, single crochet. Okay, so we're just going to keep working. Oh, I split. There we go. Chain 2s and single crochets in all the chain spaces, really bringing this in to prepare for the cuff row. Looks like after this, we may have 2 more rows to work before we start the cuff. Yeah, I think we're going to do 2 more rows, but they're going to be short rows because we're really bringing this in. So I will be back whenever I have this part all done. This almost seems a bit messier. I mean, am I working the pattern or am I reviewing it? But it almost seems, it is. It's messier than how this looks. This looks nice and fluid, you know? So I think what we're doing right now is this section right here, and then we're going to work these little bitty sections right here before we start working the cuff. And to me, this looks just a little bit messier, but I'm sure it will all come together in the end, right? Trust the process, which I'm going to do. There we go. And I'm sure it will look good in the end, but right now, I don't know, you guys are probably the same as me. You want things to look symmetrical and right, and it just looks a little bit messy, but I see like even these chain 5s look a little neater than these ones. I don't know. Almost want to go back and make these chain 5s smaller to match. You see what I'm saying? Like, did I work these too loose? Maybe. They do seem quite a bit larger than these ones. I just don't want it to look that off. It's probably in my head. It's probably just in my head. But these chain 5s really do seem quite a bit looser than the ones on this side. I feel like I'm obsessing over little things. I can't stop staring at it though. I can't quite stop staring at it. I'm gonna have to fix it. I gotta make these a little tighter. It's bothering me. So I'm gonna redo this row here. So hopefully you're watching this before you try making this so that you can catch my mistakes. See, those are fine. Oh boy, Splitty McGee. Okay, I'm not going to make it super tight, but certainly firmer. And then that's a single crochet there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a single crochet into the top of all the doubles. That's what this one is. See if it doesn't improve it just a little bit at least. Because those chain 5s were quite a bit bigger. They're still. And it must be because these ones are so much bigger. So I'm going to have to come down here and redo this row. I have to. It's too bothersome for me. You know what I'm saying? It needs to look like this, or else it'll be too obvious. Now, how did I do these? Yeah, I guess I did do them quite a bit firmer, didn't I? Okay, I'm going to redo the next row down as well. So basically the first row where we switched over to the 3 or 3.25 millimeter hook. Yeah. I may need to even do this row a little bit firmer as well. So I think I'm going to redo this last row with this hook. It just looked too funny and it was really bothering me. And I know that of all of you watching, I'm not the only one feels this way about things. So I'm not going to switch to the bigger hook for this last row. Even though the last row on this row required the bigger hook, I'm going to stick with the 3.25, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do this last row, plain row, a bit firmer, just to kind of clean things up. It helps that I was able to see how it was looking. So I think that looks good, because if I had done this row, if I had done the row after this row firmer while leaving this one still loose, it would have left what looks like little balled up picots all across. So now it's going to look a little bit better. All right, I'm going to do this row, the next row, and then come back and show you how that next row looks that I felt like was too big. Let's see if that didn't help. Kind of clean that up a bit. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. So far, it's looking a lot better already. So I would recommend that when you work your last row of the 8-row repeat, or if you've already worked it, it's not that much work to undo it, and then redo it with your smallest hook. And keep your stitches a lot firmer on the rows following. Okay, so now I'm ready to do the next row. Chain 4. Again, this is a recap, or this is just me redoing work I already did. If you're checking in at this point, I've already done this. I'm just redoing it to make it smaller. So I'm going to work a single crochet into the top of the double, then chain 5, a little bit firmer than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1 double crochet into the top of the next treble. So this is the one where I'm going to skip the singles and only work into the double crochets to really cinch things in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That might be too loose. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've been working with a little bit of a light hand this whole time, so I have to get used to working with a little bit of a firmer hand. I think that's still a little too big, but it was worse before. I'm going to have to just keep it the way it is at this point. So they're not going to look, the two sides are probably not going to look exact, but we'll see how it looks in the end, if it even matters. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I am glad I went back and redid that work a little firmer with the smaller hook. 2, 3. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, these are still going to be. You can see why I switched from a 3mm hook to a 3.25. I'm still getting a lot of splitting, even with the 3.25, but it was much worse with the 3mm. I think it's better. Let's look at it compared now. Will it match 100? Probably not. But will it look better? Yes. Yeah. This is the bit we're working on right here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's still going to be a little bit bigger. Yeah. Oh, well. I suppose the only real get around on that is to just work less chains here, work less chains here, but then you're going to change the whole size altogether, and I don't want to do that. So it's going to be what it's going to be. Let's look at the picture. So this pattern starts on this sleeve here and works itself around, and even they have bigger spaces. Even they have that. And it's not something my eye immediately picked up on. Maybe yours did. It's not something my eye immediately picked up on. It could be also the way they have her posed. It makes this arm way more visible you go straight to this arm than to this one because of everything going on in the background. So it could also be, you know, trick of the photography, to make sure to conceal the fact that these two sleeves look so different. But it's going to be fine in the end. We'll see if it even matters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I'm going to work this row and then the row where I left you guys off last, which is where we are chaining 2 between the stitches. So I'm going to finish this row and the chain 2 row, and then I'll be back for the next row after that. Okay, so it's not giving me a chain to start with, so I'm just going to start with the last chain count, which was 4, turning chain count, because it is not giving me a starting chain count for this next row. Next row, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the chain 2 space. Okay, and then without chaining, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the single and 1 single into the chain 2 space. This is the repeat. We're basically going to work a row of single crochet, working 1 into each chain 2 space and 1 into the top of each single crochet all the way to the end. There we go. That's how it should be looking. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work a single crochet into my last chain space here on the end. And again, it's not giving us a chain to turn with, a chain count to turn with, but we're going to work a row of double crochets. So I'm going to, here's how things are looking. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with a chain 3. Or actually, I'm going to go ahead and start with a stacked single. That way I don't have a chain 3 gap. There we go. And we're just going to work 1 double crochet all the way to the end. So now we are starting the cuff. So we're going to work a total of 3 rows of double crochet actually. So this will be row 1 of 3. There we go. Okay, so work 3 rows of double crochet. Again, you can chain 3 or work a stacked single at the turn of each row, but come on back whenever you've worked your 3 rows of singles, and we'll work that little flower part together. Okay, let's go ahead and start our first little flower row. So you can start by chaining 3 or working a stacked single for your first double crochet. Then work another double crochet in the next stitch over. Now let's chain 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th stitch over, we're going to start making our little flowers. So we start with a single crochet, chain 5, then we're going to work a single crochet right back into that same space, and chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I remember, okay, and then that's it. We just want a total of 3. So we have that now. Let's chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and work a double crochet into the 5th stitch over. Chain 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th stitch, make another flower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet back into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Repeat. And then one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we go. Then we chain 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th stitch, work a double crochet, chain 3, and repeat the flowers again. So we're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th stitch over, start working your little flower. Just like that, all the way to the end. So I will be right back. I'm going to work all the way to the end and finish this row up with you. Let's finish this row together. I've got my last chain 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the 5th stitch and the 6th. There we go. All right, so now for the next row of flowers, let's turn, and you can start with a chain of 3 for your first double crochet, or you can work a stacked single. And then in the next stitch, work a double crochet, chain 3, and work a single crochet into the center petal. 1, 2, 3 chains. Now over the double crochet, work a flower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one more time. Chain 3, single crochet into the center petal, chain 3, and repeat. Work one flower over each double crochet and a single crochet in the center petal. You're going to end with a chain 3 and 1 double crochet into the top of each of the last 2 doubles. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and work the rest of this off camera. But there we go. That is what we have so far. Okay, all done. Ended with a chain 3 and 2 doubles on the end. So now we're just going to turn and work 1 single crochet into the top of each double. Chain 4 and work a single crochet into the single, chain 4, single crochet into the center petal, and repeat. That's 4, single over the single, chain 4, and a single into the center petal. Okay, I will be right back. This is what it should be looking like. Okay, now we're going to start our first row of double crochets. We're going to work 3 rows of doubles. So you can start with a chain 3 or with a stacked single. And you should end that last row with your chain 4 and 1 single crochet into the top of each double crochet. So here we go, starting the next row up. And this one's very simple. We're going to work 1 double crochet into each single and 3 double crochets into, or is it 4? 1, 2, 4 double crochets into each chain 4 space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then a double crochet over the single. 4 double crochets in the chain 4 space. Very simple. You should wind up with 43 double crochet in the end, just like how we started down here with 43 double crochet. Okay, so 1 into the single. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some homework to finish the rest of the cuff. It's very easy. We just worked this section right here, 3 rows of doubles, then our 2 rows of the little flower stitch. Now we're starting right here with our first row of double crochets. So all you're going to do is 3 rows of double crochets, then your 2 rows of the flower stitches, the flower rows, and then end with 3 rows of double crochet. So as for me, this is where I'm going to leave it because I don't want the cuff frills. I want a clean edge. It kind of modernizes it a little bit. But just a reminder, here are the cuff frills, and I'm going to show you the pattern for that. So this is a UK pattern. So everywhere it says DC, that is going to be the same as a US single crochet. So here are the instructions for the cuff frill. Okay, so you could just pause the screen there or write that down. Now what we need to do is a little bit of sewing. Okay, so it wants us to sew, it says approximately 14 inches from the end of the cuff frill, but I'm going to do that from here. So I'll probably just do about 13 inches. And I'm going to do that with a needle and thread actually, so that it's a cleaner seam. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and weave in this end, and I will be right back with my darning needle and ready to go. And also, since this is reversible, it doesn't matter which side you choose to start sewing on, just as long as you match it on the other side. Like that. Okay, so I have it pinned in 3 places just to keep it stable. This is about 14 inches from here to here. I already sewed up the other side. There we go. So again, this really is two-sided, so it doesn't matter which side you start on, just as long as it matches the next side over. There we go. Leave enough of it for a tail to sew things in at the end. And that's it. Just try your best to keep it lined up and straight. I can't tell you to match stitch for stitch because they don't all look the same. Got an extra little loop here, so I'm going to include this one, or include the loop into this one. Clean that edge up there. There we go. So I just try to keep them spaced even mostly. Try to work right, like make a shallow stitch, trying to work right on the surface of these stitches, not going down too deep. And it's the same as you work your way here, you know, and you're just going to kind of match as best you can, like that. Okay, so get my sleeves down a little bit. Here it is. I think it looks great. I absolutely love the way it looks in the back because it doesn't look like a cocoon cardigan. It looks kind of like a regular cardigan. I love that it swoops down in the back. And you can sew it all the way up to the armpit if you want. It's just going to bring this up a little higher on the side. I think that's fine. But what do you guys think? I think it looks awesome. I think without the frilly, ruffly sleeves, it gives more of a modern look. But the sleeves themselves, the cuffs themselves, definitely give more of a 70s look, which is really cool. I love it. It's very retro, very, very vintage looking. I love that it's not regular, just like netting. It's got all those picots. I love the ruched sleeves. Oh, I think I'm looking in my little mirror right here, literally my little makeup mirror. I definitely love the way that this looks. Okay, let me give you a little bit of close up here. And let me have a seat with you and we'll talk about it a little bit more. I am in frame. I don't know. But anyways, okay. So you can pick the pattern up. There will be a link down below. And I'm also going to leave a link for the material that I used. Now, precisely how much I used, I bought 5 of these. I only needed to buy 4, but I wasn't sure, so I bought a 5th one. I wound up using 3.5 of these hanks. Now, I will tell you these. Okay, first let me just say it's from Expression Fiber Arts. The color is called Arctic, and it is alpaca silk DK, so it is a DK weight. It's Merlin. It's 50% baby alpaca and 50% mulberry silk. These do go for $33 a piece, so keep that in mind if you want to pick up the exact materials that I used. I bought these because I was looking for some yarn for my birthstones. I have two, like most people, and pearl and alexandrite. This company also sells a color called alexandrite, which is also my birthstone because I am early June. So pearl and alexandrite, and this does have a pearly sheen to it. They do have one that's a bright, brilliant white with a sheen, but I wanted one, pearls aren't bright, bright white. They're not a stark white. So I thought this was the closest to pearl. And you can see it's not a stark white. But anyway, so I did need to use 3.5 of those. So that is going to be 230 yards times 3 and then a half. Let me show you a quick update on my tank top that I'm knitting. Merlin, he's yelling at the kids, growling at the kids on their way to the bus stop. Okay, I've gotten quite a bit further. You can see I'm quite a bit down from the underarm now. The last time I showed you this, I was on row 2 of the underarm area. So I've been working on it quite a bit. Okay, so here is the reveal. What do you think? I mean, I got to know what you think on this one, okay? Even if it's a simple love it, just let me know what you think. Plus, whenever you let me know what you think about these kind of patterns, it gives me a really good idea of what you're interested in from this channel. So are we interested in this? What do we think? Do we love every bit of it? Gosh, I hope I'm in frame. I don't know. Okay, next video will come up a lot sooner than this video came up. I already started our next tutorial, and we'll do another sit down and visit with me after I put that video out. That's going to be a fast pattern, a quick pattern. I'm already a quarter of the way done with it, so that's going to be a quick video. Okay guys, I love you lots. I'll see you real soon, and look for a short. Check out my other channel. Make sure my other channel is linked down below, called Everyday Karina. If you like more of me just goofing off, playing with wigs, playing with my hair, playing with my makeup, going out on the town, that's sort of my junk drawer channel. You'll find it down below under the little dotted line, Everyday Karina. And of course, make sure that you hit like if you like the video. Make sure you subscribe, even if you don't usually subscribe to things. This YouTube algorithm is a hungry, hungry hippo, and it loves things like comments, likes, and people who subscribe. So these are all things that help promote my channel. So thank you so much. I love you lots, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.